just heard two tracks from Juliana Hatfield. Of course, Spin the Bottle from 1994, and then Peace and Love is her new album, and from that record we heard I Picked You Up. And Juliana Hatfield is with us once again, and Juliana, it's always great to talk to you. And the last time we spoke, I don't expect you to remember this.
Of course I remember. I remember every detail.
Well, I was trying to convince you at the time to go and see the Police reunion tour.
Right, which I never did.
You know, this interview is over.
Yeah, there's so many concerts I wish I had gone to. You know, so many shows I regret having been too lazy to attend. I don't know. I have no excuse, really.
Well, the other thing, following up on what I had spoken to you about last time, the book hadn't come out yet when I grew up.
Oh, right.
Now it's been out.
Yeah.
I've read it. I loved it. I encouraged other people to pick it up too.
Well,
and
thanks for spreading the word.
Yeah. Is there any follow-up? I mean, not the same type of book, obviously, but do you have anything else rattling around?
I am actually working on a second nonfiction book. It's about a certain period in my life, a more narrow focus than the last book had. So yeah, I've been working on that for a little while, and it's a little bit easier the second time. Writing the first book was very difficult and took me a long time because I had never done it before, and I had to figure out how to do it. So I think that it's a little bit more enjoyable writing the second book.
Yeah, because the first book, I think you said, and you can tell in the book that it started out as sort of a tour diary, and then it became something else.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your new record.
Yeah, I recorded everything in one little room in my apartment except for the piano, which was at my mother's house. So I went down to her house and with my little mobile recording unit and recorded the piano there, but everything else was done in the back room of my apartment.
What prompted that? I mean, you worked with Andy Chase on the last album, and you had Richard Butler on that record, and that was, there were a bunch of people working with you on that. What made you decide to go it alone? Well,
I'd never gone it totally alone. I've always recorded with at least an engineer helping me, mostly in recording studios, professional studios, and I'd never recorded completely on my own, and it was always a goal that I had. I wanted to just hole up and isolate and experience that, because I find that I'm most comfortable when I'm alone, and I always feel a little bit self-conscious whenever I'm, in the studio with others, and although the last experience with How to Walk Away was such a fun record to make, and I had a great time, it was a ton of work, and it was just complicated. It was like going back and forth to New York, coordinating all the different musicians and everything, and it was pretty complicated. And I think the new album is kind of a reaction to that, and I wanted to do something that was just simpler and quieter and less complicated, and I just wanted to have a little bit of peace and calm. And usually when I make a record, I'm filled with anxiety, and it's just like because you've booked the studio time, which is not cheap, and you feel like you have to make the most of your 12 hours every day in the studio, and you got to produce, you're on the clock. But with my new record, there was none of that pressure. It was just very much more relaxed, and I could go in to the back room whenever I felt like it throughout the day or night, and if I felt like working for just 1 hour on certain days, I would do that, and it was just nice and relaxed.
Yeah, there is a very intimate feel to this record naturally because of that, and also the subject matter as well. And there's a song I want to touch upon here. It's the last track on the CD, Dear Anonymous, and maybe I'm reading into it, but is that a song maybe, you're speaking to someone on the web or just various someone's posting, anonymous nonsense?
Well, I think I don't want to get too specific, but I think that anyone in my position, anyone really who makes music for strangers, is going to get a lot of different reactions from various people out there in the world, and there are lots of different types of people in the world, and sometimes you get really nice reactions, and sometimes you get kind of creepy, weird reactions and obsessive reactions. And I think, my way of kind of dealing with some of the weirdness, the way for me to process it was to try to kind of empathize with the troubled people and just try to, think about them as individuals and think, where is this person coming from? What makes a person focus on a certain musician or an artist, and, what is driving that obsession? And it's just kind of interesting to me. And I think the feeling of the song is like, look, I'm just as screwed up as you are. We're all weirdos, so just chill out, relax. I'm not special, so just relax.
There's something about the internet that's, obviously it's, there's a lot of great things about the internet, but maybe it's been your experience, and I'm not talking about, how it relates to you personally, like someone, writing about you or what have you, but it seems to me like I always knew there were jerks in the world, but now it's almost as if there were more of them than I thought there were, and they all seem to have gravitated towards the internet, where they create a fake persona.
Yeah, because they can be anonymous, and they don't have to be held accountable for the hurtful, hateful things that they say or write anonymously. And, sometimes I love the internet, but I hate it a lot, and it took me so long to even hook up to cyberspace. I fought it for so long, and then when I started my record label, I kind of had to get a little bit connected, and the internet is just like a big, huge distraction.
Yeah, it's sort of, it is. It's sort of like...
From life.
Yeah.
And work.
Well, while I was, sitting here before you called, I suddenly found myself watching a documentary on the Spice Girls.
Oh, I didn't know such a thing existed.
Such a thing does exist.
I have to watch it. Where can I find it?
It was about their reunion tour. And I'm sitting there going, this is strangely fascinating. But I look up and an hour and a half has gone by.
I know. Well, I've recently become obsessed with eBay. And it's like I just discovered it. And I for so many years, people would tell me, "Oh, eBay's awesome. You got to check it out." And I'd be like, "That sounds so stupid. I don't want anything to do with that. Buying stupid stuff at auctions." But now I'm just I can spend 3 hours looking for the perfect lamp from the 70s or something,
right.
And after 3 hours will go by, and then I'll think, what the hell have I done? I'm a disgusting person wasting my life.
I don't like those automatic bidders, when you bid on something. What is that all about?
I know. And, there's, someone just told me that I'm still learning about eBay, but there's what are they called? They're companies that'll do this for you, right? They'll do it automatically. That's what you're talking about. Yeah,
they automatically match what everybody. Yeah.
It seems like it should be outlawed, but then I realized why would eBay outlaw this? It's good for eBay. They make more money that way, but it seems kind of unfair.
Something else, because I have checked your blog, and I know that you've written extensively about this. Well, maybe not extensively, but you seem to recently have been fascinated with reality TV.
Well, I don't think I'm any more fascinated than any other average person out there. I don't even have cable television. I have this old little old TV that's low definition. It is color, though.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I am kind of morbidly fascinated with some of the shows. Although, you know, like, I wrote about the first episode of Jersey Shore, and I wrote about the first episode of the new Celebrity Rehab, but then I didn't see any other episodes. So that,
Right.
so, because I don't have cable TV, so I do have a kind of a limited view of these shows, because I don't watch them every week, because I don't have them in my house.
Right.
Thank God, or I would watch them every week. But yeah, I do find a lot of reality television really compelling, and that's partly the reason I don't want cable TV in my house, because I would watch it.
And now recently MTV dropped the music from their title, which is long overdue.
They did?
Yes.
What is it called now?
Well, it's called
TV?
It's just called TV.
The TV channel.
It's just called. Well, they're still calling it MTV, but remember the MTV used to be over the words music television.
And now it's just M.
It's just M.
Well, it's about time they faced up to the truth. You know, it stopped being music television a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad, because I think I had this hope that someday they would go back to playing videos.
But moving back to your to your album again.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. I always enter these other tangents. I'm thinking. All right. It just occurred to me. What do we call the last decade? You know, because I'm thinking of. Are we calling it the thousands or the double O's or the noughts?
I don't know.
You know, when you look back,
The
'cause
ooze.
we say the ooze. Well, see, if it were a great decade, then that would make sense, but it wasn't really. But I mean, you know, we say the 60s, the 70s, and every time you say something like that, there's something, like if you say the 60s, you conjure up images of, like, you know, the Beatles and Woodstocks and Volkswagens and Haight-Ashbury or something.
LSD.
And if you say, right, and if you
Vietnam.
in Vietnam, right, and if you say the 70s, it's
Bell bottoms.
right, bell bottoms.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this. It's like the aughts or the ooze.
Yeah, what the hell was that
It's
about?
it's where we just became nothing.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing to distinguish us anymore.
Nothing. And that's another thing too that, and I swear I'm going to get back to your album here in a second. But
Do I have a new album up?
you do. Even musically, like if the only thing I can think of for the past decade would be like American Idol. Would be the only thing that comes to mind. You know, if you were going to say what musically defines that decade.
But what defines American Idol is the blandness and the unoriginality of it. So it's not defining an era. The actual content is not defining of the era. It's you know, what it represents. It represents, you know, nothingness and blandness. And there's nothing distinctive about any of those people except the fact that they're so similar.
You know, just recently I picked up that Nirvana Live at Reading DVD.
Yeah.
And I was watching that, and I thought to myself, I can't imagine now, from this perspective in 2010, looking back and thinking there was a time where, like, a whole masses of people would go crazy for a band, like, just being, you know, playing great, but sloppy.
Yeah, like Kurt would make all kinds of mistakes on the guitar.
Make mistakes and sing off key, and they'd be laughing about it, and the crowd was going bonkers.
They were kind of the beginning and the end of everything.
Yeah.
At the same time, they were the beginning and the end.
We'll wrap this up here because I could just talk to you all night long. You know? But what's your favorite track on the new record, and that's the one we'll play?
I have to say, I think I really, really love Dear Anonymous. I think it's something new for me. What I'm expressing in it is something really new for me, and it's getting away from my own head and my misery, and it's like I'm kind of looking at something else and taking a wider perspective, and it's not just a personal thing. Thanks for playing it.